So ChatGPT came out about a year ago, and it pretty much revolutionized the entire world of technology with its AI capabilities. But there's a new AI recently came out called Gemini AI, and it's made by Google. And that AI is actually said to make ChatGPT look like a baby. So I guess we'll have to do a little bit of research and find out whether or not it lives up to the hype. So this AI is actually really different than ChatGPT, having a lot of different training data and results of the model as well. Now there's 3 main versions, and I'll be covering all of them today. Now one of the versions actually came out already and it's ready to demo, so I'm going to be showing you guys that later in the video. But the most comprehensive version is still coming out, so once it does come out, I'll make sure to make another video for you guys. So in today's video, I'll mostly be going over the basics of what Gemini AI is and the features which make it so powerful compared to other AIs that we have in our world. I'll be talking about what it looks like on the outside to the end user, and also all the technical details, like for example the performance metrics, the training data it uses, and how it's compared to other AIs in our world today. Then I'll actually show you a demo of Gemini's AI using Google Bard. And finally, I'll address some news that actually recently came out about how Gemini's demo was faked. So I guess we'll have to see about Gemini AI. But first of all, let's get into it. What is Gemini AI? So like I said earlier, it's an AI that's recently released by Google, which rivals all other AIs. And there's only one reason for this: multimodality. Now, I actually didn't know what this word multimodality meant until I started researching about Gemini, but basically what it means is it takes in a bunch of inputs and it can give out a bunch of different sort of outputs. For example, let's say you take ChatGPT, right? You enter in a text input and it returns you with the text output. Gemini can take in all sorts of input, like images, text, code, files, video, a bunch of different kinds of input. And then again, it can output you with multiple different outputs. Now, after hearing about this multimodality though, an important question pops up. Is this kind of Gemini AI, which can take in all sorts of inputs, is that going to be the same level of quality output as, for example, an AI that just takes in one sort of input and returns you with one sort of output? Because Gemini is trained with a bunch of different types of data. So I don't really know if Gemini is going to be as powerful as other AIs which take in one kind of input and one kind of output, and is trained specifically for that purpose. I guess we'll have to check it out in the demo. Another feature of Gemini's AI is that it's really flexible. They boast how Gemini is going to be available for pretty much all devices, from something as small as an iPhone to something as big as a data center. And that's really important because scalability is a really big issue in a lot of companies today, but Google doesn't have that issue with Gemini, as I would expect. Now, an AI is only as powerful as the data it's trained with. And all the mainstream AIs that you guys have seen today, they're all trained with different kinds of data, and the more data you give the AI, the better the prediction will be, I guess. So Gemini, it's also trained with a bunch of different multimodal data. Now this multimodal data is also multilingual. That was a tongue twister. So it has a lot of forms of data and also a lot of languages within that data as well. Now they have a wide variety of data that comes from things like books, codes, journals, images, video, audio, things like that. Now, I'm also going to quote Google here about their data, and they say Gemini models are trained to accommodate textual input interleaved with a wide variety of audio and visual inputs, such as natural images, charts, screenshots, PDFs, and videos, and they can produce the same kind of output. Now, this is really important, and I really found this interesting, because it's saying not just one input and one output, but let's say you have multiple inputs, like an image and then some text as a question. And then the Gemini AI can also output you with different types of data and multiple types of data as the output. That's something that I don't think I've seen in many other AIs. But yeah, that was the basic introduction of what you're probably going to see on Gemini AI on the outside. But now let's get technical. So first off, let's look at their performance metrics. They like to show this graph a lot, which I agree, it's really impressive. It shows the MMLU benchmark, which stands for Massive Multitask Language Understanding. And that's pretty much a test that covers 57 tasks, including things like elementary mathematics, US history, computer science, law, and a bunch of other subjects. So it's kind of like a test of how smart you are. The models must have extensive world knowledge and problem-solving ability to take this test, and be good at it as well. Now, the average human expert scores 89.8%, which is shown on this graph here, but Gemini scores 90%, which is really cool, and also low-key a little bit scary, because it's the first time that AI is better than humans at multitask language capabilities, which everyone thought was impossible before. And even GPT-4, which is the premium version of ChatGPT, gets only 86%, which is a little bit lower than humans, although it is measured on a different scale, but we'll not get into that. Now, actually hearing this, I remembered an article I read a long time ago. There was a guy named Alex Gurko, and he's paying $10 million to anyone who can make an AI that can win a math Olympiad competition, which is basically like a really, really advanced math competition, and they have national competitions, things like that. But basically, there's this guy that's willing to pay $10 million to anyone who can create an AI to win that math Olympiad. So I'm wondering maybe Gemini could do it, but we'll have to see. Now, the LLM of Gemini runs on Google-made tensor processing units, or TPUs, which are basically specialized hardware that's designed for training AI models, which that's how you know it's going to be good. But now in the future, Gemini will be trained on both TPUs and GPUs, or graphics processing units. So that's what the vice president of Google Cloud AI said in a briefing. So NVIDIA makes an H100 GPU, which is a popular chip for powering generative AI products. And Gemini right now, they're saying that they're going to be using GPUs and TPUs, so it's going to be as powerful as it can be. So another thing that's pretty important to our research in Gemini is that Google recently released a technical journal that covers pretty much everything about Gemini, including the performance matrix, what Gemini is, how it's working, what's behind the scenes of it, things like that. So here's the gist of it. So I'm just scrolling through it right now. It's just introducing what Gemini is, but this graph was really interesting to me, as it shows Gemini's performance in a bunch of benchmark exams. Before I showed you the MMLU, that's one of the mainstream ones, but there's a lot of other benchmark exams for people, and this compares Gemini's results in it to other AIs and humans themselves. So that was pretty much the technical details of Gemini and what they've published, but they've actually done a couple other things. So you know how after ChatGPT was released, a lot of other AIs started stemming from it. So it was like GPT-based models, but for a different purpose. Well, Gemini is already doing that. Google's making it with Gemini-based models. So there's a thing called AlphaCode 2, which is pretty much, it solves code problems, and it's based on Gemini. So I'm sure this Gemini is really new still, but I'm sure a bunch of other Gemini-based models will come out in the future. Yeah, so that was the basic introduction of what Gemini AI is, and a little bit of the technical details. But now, they have three main models. So they have the Nano model, which is the smallest, and it's for like everyday tasks. On your phone, you can search up things, it's for that kind of use. And you also have the Ultra version, which is for like really complex problems, problem solving, things like that. That's not out yet, but the Nano version actually is out on Google Pixel phones. Unfortunately, I don't have a Google Pixel, so we're not going to be testing that out. But the middle of those two, the Pro version, that's actually out today on Google Bard, which is, honestly, I think they released Bard, although Google said they've been working on it even before ChatGPT came out. I think they released Google Bard pretty early, just as a response to how big ChatGPT was becoming. But anyways, Google Bard is like an AI that Google made quite a while ago, right after ChatGPT came out. And now they've updated Google Bard with Gemini's AI. So I think now it's going to be really cool. So let's test it out. So now let's get an actual demo of Bard working in real life. Alright, so right here I have bard.google.com opened up. So this is just the website for Bard, which is Google's AI, and right now they've updated it with Gemini Pro's version into it. So now Gemini Pro's model is in this website, so we can test it out. So obviously, if you do simple things like, let's just do something that it's art. Let's just do one of their pre-created prompts here. So like, let's say, packing list. Draft a packing list for my weekend fishing and camping trip in Yosemite. So instead, let's say maybe like Dallas. Okay, so then if I enter that, then now it's going to put it through Gemini's AI and produce a response for us. Okay, so weekend fishing and camping trip in Dallas, yeah. So it's giving us a whole, actually I really like this because it makes it look really nice. It made a whole table of all the things we might need. You can even export it to Google Sheets. That's really cool. Let's click that real quick. I actually didn't even know about that, but Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Since Google is integrated with um, all of Google's products, then you can create a spreadsheet with all of the items you need. So that's really cool. And that's one of Bard's updates. So Bard is integrated with all of Google's other services, and I'm pretty sure you can even use it with Chrome extensions as well. So now let's do something a little bit more advanced. So let's say I just have this image of a fridge here, so the inside of a fridge. I'm going to copy the image and then paste it in here. So let's just say like you can take it on your phone, like the inside of your fridge or whatever you have, and then say, I have these items. What can I make for a really healthy but also delicious dinner? Then now this is an example of text and image input. So now the Gemini AI should be able to take both of these multimodal input and then produce an output for us. Based on the items in your fridge, here are a few healthy and delicious dinner options you can make. And then yeah, so it's looking at all of the images that are inside of this fridge, and it's creating a dynamic dinner plan for us. So yeah, that's really cool. So it's taking multiple different types of input and giving us an output as well. And then I also wanted to test this out because they talked about how you can just take an image and then put it in. So let's say this, I don't know what this is, but it's some landmark. So let me just say like, this is outside right now. What is it and the significance? So now it should be able to detect what kind of landmark this is and then give us the whole history lesson, I guess. So let's see. Alright, based on the image you sent, it looks like the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, France. Yeah, so it's giving us the whole history lesson, and I guess if you can, you can even double check the response with Google. So it's going to search it up with the images as well. So yeah, that's really cool. And what I really like about Gemini/Bard is that it's integrated with all of Google's services, which is really cool. And even if we go to this website here, this is bard.google.com/updates. So this is like the timeline of everything they did. So on the 12th, that's when they got the update with Gemini Pro. And then you can see it has all the other updates of what they did with Bard before. So one last thing I wanted to test out was a code snippet. So let's say I just got this random code snippet. I don't even know what it does. But let me just paste it in here. And then we'll say this is a code snippet. What does it do? And notice how I don't even have to provide the language or anything. This is Python, but let's not tell it that. We'll just give us the code snippet and it should be able to tell what it is and what it does. So yeah, this Python code, so it knew it was Python, and it calculates the sum of even and odd numbers. So yeah, and then it's explaining each line as well. So yeah, this is really cool. It put our inputs into the Gemini Pro model, and it's giving us these outputs as well. And what I really liked is that it's integrated with other Google products as well. So yeah, that was a pretty basic demo of Gemini Pro. Like I said earlier, Gemini Nano is available in Google Pixel phones. What it does is, I'm pretty sure it can just like finish your text. So like if you type in a text, it can finish it and send it. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And Gemini Ultra, they don't actually know what date. They didn't actually have a release date for it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in early 2024. So I guess we'll make another video for that one as well. Overall, I really think Gemini is a really powerful AI, and it has the potential to change the world possibly. But a bunch of people are now saying that the demo was faked, and even Google admitted that the demo was faked. So let me just play a quick video of the demo. So as you can see, that Gemini demo was really interactive. You can even play a rock, paper, scissors game with it. However, when people actually tried this out by testing it out with the rock, paper, scissors on the actual Google Bard version, it didn't work. It just showed something like this, where, for example, if you hold up the rock, then it just says a person knocking on a wooden door, and if you did scissors, then it's saying 2 fingers. So I don't think it's as interactive as they do say it is, and obviously it could be really easily faked. All they would have to do is put that video and then type in the text themselves. And the team behind Gemini actually admitted to faking it. But what they did say, I'm going to quote them here, "Our goal was meant not to deceive, but to inspire developers with Gemini." So I guess we still don't know. But once the Ultra version does come out in, I think, 2024, then we'll have a final understanding of what Gemini is and the potential for the future. Although I think their idea is really important. But I guess time will tell how useful it will be. But I think right now all we can do is just learn as much as we can about these AIs and see what happens for the future. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. If y'all had any doubts, please comment down below. I'd love to help you out if you're stuck with any Gemini questions or issues. Please like, subscribe, all that jazz. Until then, you can learn anything.